The key to financial forward momentum often is not earning more, it's measuring and assessing differently than you may be doing now.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
We are delighted that for 37 years at the Dekker team, we've been able to come alongside you, not only selling, buying, and investing over 3,117 times, coming alongside you to build your fund, build your faith, build your fitness, build your finances, and even strengthen, heal, and flourish inside relationship. You know, the whole wealth thing we keep talking about, we're going to keep talking about, because it is often misunderstood. Mm-hmm. In segment A, we talked about comparing the wrong things, social outsides versus what's really going on behind the walls. Then we talked about, are we able to actually measure the right things? Mm-hmm. Are we looking at the right things? Are we consistent? Are we positioning? Are we timing things right? And now we're going to go a little bit deeper. How do we measure?
Right. And I love the book, and this is going to come off from left field here, but the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. And the summary of it is, it's a man that was really in debt. He becomes the wealthiest man in Babylon. And the secret is, if you always want to have change in your purse, spend less than you earn. That was the secret. And it's an amazing book. And books really have an effect on us when we read them. At least they do on me. I think they do on you. They subtly change your behaviors, your thoughts, your perspective. And one of those books is sitting on the table here beside us, and that's The Wealth Formula. Yetta and I wrote that book. My name's on it, but there's always a woman behind the man. And that book has a lot of principles in it that will really help people get unstuck. They're in debt, and then give them ideas towards building wealth if they're not stuck in debt.
Right. So, I just want to backtrack. It's not just a book that we wrote. It's a book that we lived. We lived it before we wrote it. I mean, we're not the characters in the story necessarily. It's a story, so it's an easy read. It's a fun read. We did a whole series a few months ago on the Wealth Formula, and there's, I believe, 8 in there, and it's the Wealth Formula Expanded. And if you haven't listened to that, I think it's well done, if I do say so myself. Like, I think it gave a really great foundation of what was going on at the time when we wrote the book and what has maybe shifted since then, and expanding on some of the thoughts that are there.
Yes.
And so we want to make sure that if you are not measuring your monthly net worth, do it like today. Do it now. And if you need a clarity call so you can know where to go to get it and how to access it, then call us. Just go to the Dekker Team website, dekkerteam.com, book a clarity call. We'll even help you with that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be just, I'm ready to buy a house, let's get there. That's great too. We'll take those clarity calls and have had many of those. And we'll also start wherever you are. So when we started measuring different things, meaning measuring what equity we actually had in the house, what money we actually had in the bank account versus watching only what we were spending, right? When we changed what we were looking at consistently, we just automatically changed our behaviors.
It did. Like when you're measuring on the old scoreboard, like pricing, timing, trying to time the market, comparison with other people and lifestyle, that scoreboard, very easy to lose at if your goal is net worth. If your goal is, will I be able to retire? Will I be able to care for myself when maybe I need more financial support for home care or that kind of thing, and I don't want to rely on my children to do that, for instance, then what do I do now to make sure that I have that security for my medical needs, right? Then we're going to use the new scoreboard if you want to go in that direction. The new scoreboard is, what equity do I have? what options do I have based on that equity? And what flexibility does that give me in my life? And some of those tools are on the Wealth Formula. You go to wealth-formula.com, and there's a net worth statement there that it's an Excel spreadsheet, gives you 12 columns. You can fill in your net worth. And like Yetta said, if you're stuck on that, you don't know what a net worth is, give us a call. We're happy to talk.
And again, just do it through Clarity Call. Next step, Clarity Call at dekkerteam.com, because that's the easiest way to give you one simple instruction. It's an easy next step if it feels right to you. Let's do that together.
And let's reframe. Let's measure what really builds wealth. You know, Stats Canada, also same similar stat as all the others that we talked about in the previous segments. They say that real estate remains one of the largest components of household wealth in Canada, highlighting its long-term role in financial positioning.
We promised a story about a client. We did. And then we almost forgot to tell you the truth. Well, another one of the truths, another one of the great stories. And that is, starting somewhere is better than starting nowhere. We say it in 100 different ways. And this couple decided, well, they didn't really want to live with other people. But if they went with a duplex, it wasn't really any more money than buying a single. And it would allow them to get into their first house, not their dream home. They hadn't really planned on it. She in particular hadn't planned on it, and yet was willing to sacrifice to get into a home that was about the same price as a single. And yet somebody else pays a half or either side of a half of their mortgage. Seems like a good deal.
Yeah.
Taxes are covered, insurance
How many years
are covered.
were they in that before they were able to pull more equity out?
Just
and buy
a
another
couple.
one? It was only like 2 years, right?
Well, they were able to put a little bit more money into it as
they've
well.
been saving as
They've
well.
been saving. So they kept that property, refinanced, and then moved into another one, and eventually turned that into a duplex as well. And it was even a more private and separate situation in the second one. But bottom line is they were willing to sacrifice a little bit for the long-term benefits of having someone else have a great place to live, which is wonderful. B, so they did good for others. And B, having a wealth strategy that just really takes care of itself over time. In 20 years or so, those properties will be paid off, and they won't have paid for all of it by any stretch of the imagination. And it's just a brilliant, and it's not for everybody. It's worth exploring if you've never thought about it.
It warms our heart when we can help young people move in the right direction. Now, if you're not what's considered a young person, in your 20s or 30s, but you're a little later on, that we love helping too. And sometimes people say, oh, I'm really stuck. I haven't been able to build much. And maybe I always say that first 100,000 in equity is the toughest to build. Once you get that, you can start leveraging, using equity, and the growth starts to accelerate. So, the Bible says, do not despise humble beginnings, but you have to begin somewhere.
Yes, you do.
That's where we want to go.
So what did our quote say?
Our quote, I don't remember. I'm going to have to look it up, Yetta. What gets measured gets managed. That's by Peter Drucker.
Yeah, so if you want to measure differently than you used to, and you want to measure some things that make a difference, connect with us. We'll get you over to the net worth statement, and that will help you a lot.
Yeah, and we're glad you joined us on Life's Inside Track, because when we move forward together, we've got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward